Welcome back. So I was just looking at slide 4 before we go further, and looking at that family pyramid that you have of one child, 2 children, 3 children, and 4 children, and so on. And I'm looking at the statement that you made, that we are practically on reverse mode. And I'm looking at the minuses here for the 2 children. As much as 2 children already, you're already having a minus. So how do families make up for that reverse?
Look, to be very honest with you, we've all been living beyond our means. And that's why there has always been a lot of stealing. People steal to cover up for these expenses. The burden which the government has put on the people, right? People need to lift that burden up themselves. The public schools, you can't send your kids to public schools. Okay, well, I got to take them to private schools, right? So how do I pay those school fees and at the same time survive as a family? Some people have multiple streams of income, right? They are able to survive it. But those who go to the office and come back 8 to 5, right? They are the major victims of this economic policies of not investing in education. And that's why poverty in that sphere, right, is increasing. So most people have actually been either doing something on the side, or the majority have been stealing to cover it up.
Is that what has fueled corruption?
Yeah, that's what is fueling. Look, go look at, most people are not even living the kind of luxurious life they need to live, right? It's not about luxury. It's all about survival. You understand? Yes, I got to take your kids are your investment. So whatever it takes for the average Nigerian to say, look, I'm going to put them in this set of school to make sure that they come out well. And if whatever I have to do, I have to do. That's the mindset of Nigerians.
Why is it that there's that understanding of education as an economic policy? It's as if it's not there.
Yeah, we don't say. The truth is this. We don't even have a policy or a roadmap for education in this country. And that is the truth. Even if we have one, I am sure it is cooling off on some shelf, maybe in the Ministry of Education, or that had not been implemented. We need to go back. If we need to build this economy, we need to go back to public schools. And I'll tell you something. See, your aggregate demand, that's your GDP, is of 5 factors: consumer spending, investment, government spending, import and export. Consumer spending alone is 2/3 of your economy, 66.6%, almost 70%. And then you're stifling those that's supposed to grow that 66.6%. Free their pockets. This economy will explode. And the danger in this thing is this, right? The middle class grows the economy. As the middle class spends, it trickles down every other sector. The middle class are the ones that innovate, right? For every Aliko Dangote, there's about 500,000 Nigerians that will employ between 5 to 10 people. You understand? So calculate that. For every Mike Adenuga, there are about 500,000 Nigerians.
Sorry. Now, let's look at that, expanding the economic base. Our GDP as against expenditure in the area of education.
Yes.
I think that's around the slide 7, thereabout. If we look at expanding, you're saying free their pockets so that they can do more things, and then money trickles down.
Can I ask you a question? If you have maybe 3 million that you are paying for your child's school fees every year, and you are able to pump that 3 million back into your business, where do you think your business will be by now? Where? How many people do you think you will have been able to add to your employee list?
But another question will be that if you say education is, how do they put it now? If you say that education is expensive, try ignorance.
Yes, and that's exactly what is happening to us.
But it seems to be twisted, if you permit me here, because if the private sector school owners are the ones driving education, basically in Nigeria today,
yes,
that means they are part of this problem.
Okay, now, the guy that came in the mid-80s, right, reduced education expenditure until it got to 0.76% of GDP. He set up a school. The guy that came in 1999 maintained the status quo. He set up a secondary school, set up a university. His vice set up a secondary school and set up a university. how do you expect these people to fund education? That's the question. How do people in public service have conflict of interest and you expect them to put money in the right place? They will never. So those are the basic questions. Those are the basic things that we need to fight for. We need to ask. The part of the economy that should be driven by the middle class is 269 billion, 2/3 of our economy. If you have the 2 to 3 million naira every year that you pay as in school fees, you invest it in your business, you will know where you are by now. And remember, if you have one child, you have 20 years average to pay school fees. If you have 2, you have 23 years. If you have 3, you have 26 years. 4, you have 29 years. If you get married at 30 and start having kids at 31, you will not get out of the mess until you are 60. Retirement. That's why people can't move forward. Take that burden off the middle class. Once you take that burden off the middle class, the economy will grow. No matter what we do, it will be a short-term growth, right? And that's why our GDP per capita is falling. Population is increasing.
Let's do a comparison here between Nigeria's expenditure on education expenditure to GDP and other countries.
Go back. Let's go to slide 1. Slide 1, please.
Okay. All right, there we are.
Yeah.
The maps.
Look at, what I did was to group under regions, right? North Africa. You see that some countries in North Africa are in white, right? Green and brownish yellow, right? Then I took that for West Africa. Now, let us now go to slide 7, I think. Slide 7. Slide 7, good. Now, slide 7, the first on is West Africa. Nigeria is the first, right? Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria spent an average of 0.78%, less than 1% of its GDP on education between 1991, when we reduced it to 0.76%, to 2016. The same period I calculated for Cote d'Ivoire. Cote d'Ivoire has spent 4.23%. Ghana has spent 4.65%, almost reaching the UN benchmark of 5%, right? Togo has spent 4.09%. Republic of Benin, 3.46%. Sierra Leone, 2.65% of GDP. Burkina Faso, 3.18% of GDP. Mali, desert country, is spending 3.10% of GDP. That's why when you go back, you see that Mali is reducing poverty. Nigeria is increasing poverty. You look at Niger. Niger spends 3.13% of its GDP on education. That's why you see countries like Niger that don't even have half of what we have, right? They are reducing poverty, but poverty is increasing in Nigeria.
So the education is a tool for economic sustainability
That's
and
what
growth,
and
we're missing it.
We've never really understood the concept of education. Perhaps we understand it and they are using it to punish the people. Let us come out and say the truth, right? Perhaps they understand it and they are using it to punish the people. The education is not just a place of learning. It's actually a strategic tool to regulate economic growth.
So that rubs off on the economy. But
look at East Africa. Go to
slide.
Yes, go to. Let's go back to slide 7, please.
So you can see Kenya.
Look at East Africa. In West Africa, Ghana spends the most. In East Africa, Kenya spends the most. Kenya spends an average. They've spent an average of 5.54% of their GDP over a period of 25 years. And that's why when you go to East Africa now, all the technology hubs, where are they? They are in Kenya.